I'll just go through this little bumpy patch. I'm so intrigued now. Because if it is true, I've never seen a giraffe that is missing an eye before. And that's an unfortunate disability to have, especially when your eyesight is your best sense. Let's have a look here. Now, I'm wondering if there's also an injury on his neck. I'm not sure. Let's have a look now. Let's examine this together. Hello. Can we go straight into his left eye, though? Look at that. He is too. It looks like his eye has completely been gorged out of his skull. Now, I know that sounds incredibly gross, but that's exactly what has happened. Now, he is an older bull, and it does look like he had a mark on his neck, but I think that is just from rubbing. And that's an old injury. See there? I think maybe he was just rubbing himself on a tree or something. Or maybe he's cut himself open. Perhaps he was in a serious battle of some sort. He's definitely an older chap. But look at that eye. Completely healed up, so it's not a new injury. You might find maybe something like this happened when he was quite young. Because when he stopped to look at us, he actually turned and had to turn his head slightly more to the left. And it was amazing. Now, like I said, giraffes' sense is their best sense, is their eyesight. They're obviously taller than some of the trees. They can see right over the tops and into the far distance. So that is a serious disability to have. But I'm sure he's been able to adapt to it and cope for most of his life. You know, it's even hard to say. Maybe he was just born like that and he doesn't know any different. And I'm just trying to see if I can sort of see any other scarring around the eye. Now, obviously giraffe often poking their heads into some very thorny vegetation. But I don't know if that's enough to completely remove his eye like it seems to have. See, there's absolutely nothing. So I wonder maybe he was just born like this. It's very difficult to say. Have any of you seen this giraffe before? Hashtag Safari Live if you have. We do know that the animals, they sort of just take their time, but eventually we see the same animals over and over again with giraffe, with elephants, and if they've got any distinctive markings, you're able to tell. And of course, a missing eye is a very, very distinct marking, and in all my years of guiding in all the areas that I've traveled, like I said, I've never seen something like this before. You see that? I wonder if he just never developed an eye, which could completely have happened too. There seems to be a few sort of marks around his eye, though. Like I said, it's old. Look at his face, though. He's been battered up. He's fought with many male giraffes, but I think maybe what could have happened is because he has this disability, he isn't able to see as well. Perhaps he gets sort of bashed around by other male giraffe quite easily. This is unbelievable, and there's also a little hornbill that's just sitting on the stick. It's warming itself up in the sun as well, and that's an oxpecker that's on its back. There's two of them, just checking its mane. I'm just trying to, of course, figure all of this out. But definitely been in the wars, this guy. Hello, red-billed oxpecker. You're listening to the Hardy Dars. They're just flying over the top of the giraffe's head now. Off they go. There's lots of birds around here too. But he's a beautiful fella, and he doesn't seem to be too worried about not having an eye at all. He's still feeding. I'm sure he goes and has drinks at the dam. Now, let's have another look at his face again, if he will show it to us. John B. from Colorado, you've said, could the injury on his face be related? Maybe. However, I'm not so certain because the injury on his face looks slightly newer. Like I said, you can see around his eye, it's completely healed. The skin right inside sort of the socket where the eye would have been is completely healed. There's no fresh gashes or anything like that. Whereas on his face, there seems to be a scab that he's just maybe recently opened. So I don't think so. I think that they're unrelated injuries. Giraffe often get injuries on their legs, on their necks, and around their faces, and that's of course from challenging other bull giraffe when it comes to fighting. But let's reposition. Let's go get another view of him. He's just moved behind those shrubs that he was feeding on. Hello, boy. Now, I asked you just a moment ago if any of you thought that you have perhaps seen this boy, and Jeffrey from Texas, you said you think you may have seen him with James a while ago. So that's really quite interesting. I'd love to hear the thinking about what James think may have happened, and maybe if you can pull up some old screenshots, you can share them with us, and then we can also establish if that injury on his face is from a similar time or if it's newer. He's not young. He's probably fine that he's heading towards the end of his lifespan. You know, he's in good condition, but he's not particularly as fit as what I've seen male giraffe get to. His neck is of average size. His shoulders don't seem to be very muscly. So maybe he's a much older boy and he's just sort of wandering around, going about his days. Shame, big boy. You've been in the wars by the looks of it. He's a lovely color, though. Now, obviously all we can do is speculate as to what's actually happened to this giraffe. When I learn how to speak to the animals, I can promise you right now, I mean, that's the first thing I'm going to ask this animal. And Chris, you were wondering if I thought that maybe he could have been hit in the eye by another giraffe. Definitely. I reckon if an ossicone had to, and you've seen the way that a giraffe swings its head around, for those of you who have only just started watching Safari Live and you haven't really seen too much of the action, and we haven't actually seen giraffe fighting for quite some time, but basically they use their heads as a not like a punching bag. The other giraffe will be a punching bag, but think of it, how I always think of it is, think of a rope being its neck and its head being a massive weight. Now imagine swinging that around at your opponent. It can cause some serious damage. So definitely an ossicone straight into the eye socket would probably be enough to pop the eye straight out of the socket. And again, I'm so sorry, I don't know what other words to sort of use to describe what has happened here, because an injury like that wouldn't have been something gentle. It would have been done with serious force to cause something like that. And wow, like I said, it could have been an injury, it could have been born like that, who knows. But good job for this giraffe for continuing on and soldiering on, just as all the other animals do when they're faced with a challenge in our life. And I think that's something we can definitely take from animals, no matter with what problem that we're faced with. Look at this giraffe, for example. He's lost his eye. He's covered in gashes on his face, on his neck. But that hasn't stopped him. He's still carried on. He hasn't given up on life. And I think that's very important. And that's what I love about watching the animals, is that we can learn a whole lot from them. They really are amazing creatures. Like I said, yesterday I was talking about, I've seen a giraffe, I've seen kudu, I've seen elephant, I've seen many different animals with broken legs before, and just carrying on like there's absolutely nothing wrong. That is outstanding. The strength that these animals have. Whew, I think we're going to go around and see if we can get a better view of the other side of the eye. It's very interesting. I'd like to snap a few pictures. Tingana has sat up. Let's go have a look at that beautiful cat's face.
Well, he's decided to wake up. I think he's yawned twice. Good sign that maybe he's not going to go and be flushed out again. He's just busy now grooming himself. I'm sure he's just trying to get rid of all the bits and pieces of meat that might have been left on him from when he made the kill last night. I did look out at the, what do you call it? The anatomy of a warthog, and what we were looking at was definitely the stomach, so I wonder if maybe he actually managed to catch two last night. The piglets were all running around, so who knows, maybe he has proven he's full of surprises, so I am keen on thinking that perhaps maybe he did catch two little piglets last night, because we saw one stomach was definitely open and then the other one didn't seem to have any punctures or anything else. I suppose it'll be a mystery and we won't really know. Will we know? It's always stressful to me to look at them when they have to groom themselves just behind their neck. It's almost like they don't reach, but you know, they're pushing their limits of their spine and their muscles to move around. Hello. That somebody's been eating very well. Where are you gonna go? Maybe that's where you've kept everything else hidden and we can't see it? No? I wonder. I didn't see anything when we were around there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually dragged the rest of the kill down there. It is a perfect place to hide everything else. Vultures wouldn't see it from the sky. The smell or the scent would be hidden, and he wouldn't have to worry about the meat going rotten in the sun now that it starts coming out. That's a very odd place to scratch. Rishikesh, you're wondering why leopards prefer marula trees. Some of them seem to prefer them because they aren't somewhat easy trees to climb. Very big branches, lots of places where they can put their kills, and just not full of thorns or spine as a lot of the trees around this area are. So I'm pretty sure that's why when he saw it, that's where you had it? Sneaky. And it doesn't even smell, because a lot of the times what gives away a kill is perhaps the smell of rotting meat, but in this particular case we couldn't even smell it. So it could have been that maybe he covered it up with a bit of grass and put it underneath the tree so that we wouldn't see anything else. Oh, well, that's an odd place for you to be feeding in. I think maybe we're going to try to move a little bit. I think maybe if I go forward, hopefully we'll be able to catch a bit of a better glimpse at what he's doing. Sorry, bushwhack. Not sure. Okay, come on, gears. Get into place.
Right, hello everybody. I don't know where Herbie's leading me. I haven't got a clue, but I suspect that Herbie is leading me to somewhere interesting. Now this is where we had Shadow's tracks and her cub tracks. I think Herbie's managed to find our girl. We're near the hyena den. I've also since then moved away from our one-eyed friend at WildEarthTV Dam, but I don't think he's going to go far, so I think he'll still be around. But I'm playing follow my leader. Maybe our luck is going to turn. Please, luck, please turn. I don't really know what else to say. We've just... Where? Ah! Look here, look here. Let's just show them there's a Dacre kill here. We're live. Just telling Herbie that we're live. So there's a Dacre kill. Where are the leopards? I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a chat to Herbie and we're going to try and figure this all out. So I'm going to send you across to the Mara with Brent and some dinosaurs of the deep.
Here we are at one of the Mara crossing points that in just a few weeks is going to play out the struggle of the wildebeest and the zebra and the Thompson's gazelle as they attempt to navigate the dangerous waters. And here is one of the reasons why it's an incredibly dangerous time for all of the animals that attempt to cross. An absolutely massive crocodile. And apparently each of these crossing points has their own resident male crocodile that lurks about. You'll get other little ones, but he is just patiently waiting, lurking, knowing that the time of plenty is on its way. And they can go for incredibly long periods of time without feeding on anything. But of course, once the migration arrives, and at the moment as we speak they're probably about, I'm still not great on distances and where we are exactly. I would say they're about 50 or so kilometers away and getting closer as we speak. Oh, are you going to go sunbathe? Look at that. He is enormous. What are the crocodiles that Brent named on Djuma? Vlad the Impaler and Boris. They shrink in comparison to the size of up and enjoying a little bit of time sunbathing. Those white-faced whistling ducks. Apparently we're at something called, they look like, they are white-faced whistling ducks. Yes, next to him there, exactly. He is indeed ginormous. I have no idea who sent that through. Sorry, we're talking back again about our crocodile. Somebody says that he's ginormous. He is indeed. He is absolutely ginormous. He's longer than me, easily. I wonder what he must weigh. A couple of 100 kilograms. He is absolutely gigantic. And you have to be. Each of these sort of crossings will be controlled by a big male that will fight off any potential rivals. Alright. Onwards we shall go in search of other things, and this crocodile is contemplating when his breakfast is going to arrive. Fortunately, that's not a problem that Tingana has.
Tingana is indeed having breakfast. He was hiding it down this fallen off branch all along, and we had no clue that it was there. We were actually puzzled and wondering where he had it, because there were so many good places for him to keep the kill. But it seems like somebody is hungry now that is a bit warmer, and it seems to be a good portion of the kill still left in there. I can't see too well because, I mean, like we said, he's just got it in a very tough spot to look at, but that's probably why he chose that spot, because very little would actually know, like us humans, that there was a kill there. And it is funny because there's been about maybe 4 or 5 vehicles coming into this area where he's been today, and pretty much none of us managed to find the kill. We knew that it was somewhere around, but not quite there. So it just points to how full of surprises and how clever these creatures are. Somebody seems to be very hungry. Laura Moore, you're saying that, wow, is he eating more? Yes, he definitely is. I think that, well, this is just quite something. I think, you know, he's hungry. I thought maybe he couldn't fit anymore in that big belly of his, but clearly he can. And that's why he's enjoying it. Also, maybe he's trying to eat some of it before anything catches it. Maybe he's digested some of it. I mean, it was over 12 hours ago that we saw him make the kill, and that's likely when he started eating. So if he hasn't eaten for the last few hours, maybe he's digested some of the meat already, and that's why he's decided to go and have another bite. Seems like he's quite content with what he's gotten left, and there seems to be there's still tender pieces of this piglet that he's busy eating. The meat is still quite pretty and red, so I'm sure he's enjoying it. Rashni, hey, you say you're having breakfast together with Tingana. Well, isn't that quite something? Not every day you get a leopard to join you on the breakfast table. I wonder, are you also having bacon for breakfast? You can hear some of the crunching of the bones. I think he's got into, there we go, bit of a tougher part, and they will eat little pieces of bone. They also need that calcium in their diet. And I think he's just trying to get to the more interesting bits in there. Fighting it off. So you see he's doing a combination of things with his mouth now. So he's using his tongue to try and get some of that meat off the skin or off the bone, and then when he goes and, you know, puts his head sideways like that, likely he's just trying to cut a chunk of meat, because his teeth work like a scissor if he puts them in that particular position. So it's, you know, there's a bit of twist and turning and then licking to try and make sure that he is able to get all of the meat off the skin and off the bone. I'm really so surprised that you're eating more. But I suppose he doesn't get to be this size just by eating or nibbling on little things here and there. You get to be this size because you eat all your food. Kim, you're wondering if the cat family eats lice during the winter month. No. So when it's winter and it's cold, all of us mammals, we actually need to eat a bit more. You'll find that maybe in winter you get hungry all the time to be able to keep warm. Because when we eat, we metabolize that food, and that's what keeps our temperature at a certain level. And in the winter months, I find it that actually cats might have a slightly higher chance of success because a lot of the animals, the antelope, their prey species, are in a weakened physical condition. The grass isn't as palatable or as nutritious. There isn't as much water all around. So I think they are, or they can be in a bit of a weakened state, and that plays in favor of the predators. I think the way that we saw it yesterday, he was quite lucky, and maybe perhaps had the grass been a lot longer, like in the winter months where everything is a lot thicker, maybe he wouldn't have been able to catch one of those piglets when he started running around after them. Do you see, even when he's eating, he's constantly alert of his environment. Is the sun bothering you? Almost like he's got a little house in between there. Perfect size. By the looks of it, I think it's just the upper part of the body that's left from what I could see when he dragged it, when he moved it a few seconds ago. Is that a hoof? I think he is actually eating the top part. If I'm not mistaken, he's eaten one of the ears. And I think he might be going on to the next one. I'll keep you guys posted as the feeding goes along. I'm sure it's a bit gruesome, so let's go over to Taylor and see how her luck is doing this morning.
I thought it was getting better. So what had happened when I had a quick chat with Herbie just after I left you, he said that he was walking around where we had the last track. So I'd picked up these tracks of a female leopard and then I called Herbie just to come and have a look and confirm exactly what he thinks. And then we were obviously driving around searching, and the tracks went one way. Anyways, it seemed though they came back across the road later. It must have been while Shadow was trying to fetch her cub, and he bumped into them and he saw them on foot. And now we were chatting yesterday about how leopards react to people on foot, and every leopard is slightly different. Tingana, for example, runs. You just see a cloud of dust and sometimes a blur of spots. Shadow does exactly the same thing, but it could have also been because she had a young cub. But both of them went darting off into the bushes. Herbie, of course, made his way straight back to the vehicle, and now we're just trying to figure out where they've gone. So I went a little bit further down Shibamo. I'm just taking it very slowly, trying to be as quiet as I can, driving around, and hopefully they're going to go straight back towards the kill and feed on it there. I'll see if I can show you some tracks. I am not going to jump out the car though, in case they are just sitting here and then I further sort of startle them. So we will go back and check now. Herbie's just driving very slowly off road to see if he can figure out where they went. This area is just littered, absolutely littered with leopard tracks this morning. Let me just find some nice ones. That's from a wildebeest. There's some tracks on the side of the road. Yes, here they are. Goes of them. Let me just angle the car. Actually, I can see what I can do. I'll do this. So, Sensor, all those tracks just on the side, like around here, these are leopard tracks. We'll go and go up a little bit more. Up a bit further. Okay, yeah, those are leopard tracks too. You can see them, they're coming down this way. The ones on the right and then the ones on the left are going up. So she was pacing up and down here last night and all over Philemon's cut line, all around there, looking for something to eat. Now this area is particularly good. There's lots of duiker, lots of steenbok that often frequent around here, and well, she caught herself a little duiker, which is great. Not much of a meal though, more than a scrub hare, which is really nice. So they're almost finished it though. It just looks like there's maybe the shoulders and around the neck of the duiker that was left. Let's creep in there again and see if anything has unfolded. Herbie hasn't said anything on the radio, so I presume he hasn't had any luck just yet. Do you want to see the little baby leopard tracks? Let me show you some baby leopard tracks. You have to look very carefully though. So, Sensor, you see those two elephant footprints that are close to each other? I'll point them out. They're just over there. That one. Can we go and look at that track? That little track over there is Shadow's darling little girl's track. It's quite difficult to see, but they're in an elephant footprint. So how nice is that? And hopefully I'm going to actually get a view of them so I can show you. I've never seen her. I'm so excited. I have not seen a little leopard cub for a very long time. Of course, the last lot of little leopard cubs I was fortunate enough to see were Xongile and Hosanna. And I haven't seen anything since then. Let's just pop up ahead. Let's just quickly have a look from a distance at that tree. They will come back. They're not going to abandon that kill just because they saw a person. It just might take some time for them to settle down, which is understanding. You do imagine being on seeing something like that, having a nervous breakdown, then running away, trying to make sure that your little one is okay. I'm just going to scan here. I can't see. The kill was in here. Was it in here? Maybe a little bit further forward. But I don't see anything just yet. Okay, we'll keep hanging around here and hopefully our patience will pay off and Shadow and her little one will return. But let's go back to a spotted cat, which you have been seeing now for almost 24 hours.
Proves that maybe Shadow will be the last 10-minute leopard today. I am really hoping that we're going to be able to also have a look at her and that tiny one. I'm sure everyone's itching just to see how that little one is doing. Our big boy over here, he's still busy eating. I think he's now managed, or what he's trying to do from what we could see is just try to get the meat off of the skull, and that's what he's busy eating. And if you're having breakfast, I apologize. But Tingana's having breakfast too, so I suppose it always depends on what species you are. I think he's quite enjoying it. He's gone down in the shade, everything is well hidden, not too many things around here. So I'm hoping that after he's nice and full, maybe he'll go all the way down to Treehouse Dam to have a bit of a drink. We can hear a lot of bone crunching, so I'm sure he's busy just trying to maneuver his way around to where there's actually a bit of meat left, because he would not eat all of the skull and definitely will not eat the skin or the mane of the warthog. So I think maybe he's just trying his luck at where he can get some actual meat. Here we were, thinking that you had eaten it all, but no, you still have a bit left in your stomach. Rashni, you're wondering what weather is best to smell a kill. Well, sometimes if there's a light breeze, a lot of the times the scent will just be carried on, and then the animals will be able to smell it from a bit of a longer distance. If not, I would say early morning, late afternoon. The air is cooler, maybe everything is easier to smell. And well, I suppose also if you think about it, during the summertime, if a kill is left out in the sun, it'll rot a lot quicker, so you'll be able to pick up that smell of either that something's dead or rotting meat a lot quicker than you would maybe in a day that is a bit cooler. But for now, just pretty much no smell. I know also our sense of smell is not as good as the one of the leopards, but I'm pretty sure that nothing else can smell him around, because if hyenas could have smelled this or hear him crunching the bones, maybe that's what's going to be the reason that they get attracted to this place, if there are any in the vicinity, that crunching of bones. I think there have been studies made that suggest that hyenas can hear on a very clear day the crunching of bones of another predator up to 10 kilometers away. That's quite a distance. But I think because there are so many vehicles moving around, maybe it'll be a bit harder for them. Edward, you're wondering if they would eat the brain, or if they could eat the brain if they crack the skull. I'm pretty sure they would. It is another organ that they can feed upon. Just the only thing that they don't seem to eat is the stomach, the one that we saw earlier on, just because of of everything that's inside. But the liver, the lungs, the splinter, well, yeah, the heart, they'll pretty much eat all of them. All of them has got some sort of, all of it has got some sort of nutrient that will be good for them and for their general diet. And I know that a lot of the times when big cats are kept in captivity, their minders have a bit of trouble with their diet, because there's a lot of supplements that need to be put in. A lot of the times it's calcium, a lot of the times it's the bacteria that they would eat in the gut or from the stomach contents of certain creatures, and just extra vitamins that they would get from eating the organs of the animals that they hunt down. Shelley, you're wondering what would happen to the warthog hide. I don't think too much. Like I said, I've seen 2 warthogs already walking around not too far from there, so I reckon they will carry on using it. Perhaps if they smell the leopard towards the afternoon, maybe they will use another mound. But they've got a few different mounds in a particular area that they use. We saw that big male, when Tingana was on top of the mound, he decided that was not the case, and then he went somewhere else. And maybe 50 meters into the bush, there was another big mound with a lot of warthogs in there. So what could happen is that they'll decide to spend their night somewhere else, that maybe this is not the safest area, because clearly there's a big male leopard around here, and they'll choose another burrow somewhere further away from us. But maybe they'll abandon it for a little bit, but they will still be using it. Jason, you say that Tingana's got still a bit more chance for this warthog family, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might. The mound from where those piglets came from is actually not too far. I would say maybe 50 meters away from where we are. So it could be that he's going to try his luck. Maybe he'll sit on top of that mound for the rest of the day, and wait until night starts falling, and then the warthogs need to come back into that same den. Or maybe today will be the inverse. Because he's sitting or close to this particular mound, maybe the warthogs will go to the one where he was waiting at yesterday evening. Elizabeth, you're wondering how long a leopard can go without making a kill. Well, sometimes it can be a few days if they're not successful. It could be that, they have to walk far to find a prey species, or that everything keeps spotting them, or that the wind is not in their favor. So it's not unusual to see them go without food for a few days. And when they do, that is why they do the same thing that Tingana is doing here. They will start feeding on the same thing until it's finished, pretty much. And you've seen he's got a very big belly, so it's a good way of him of having a bit of reserve in his belly, a lot of food, that if he does not manage to eat today or maybe even tomorrow, then he'll still have a good meal in his belly. And not that they decide to store it in their stomach to consume it later, but just because protein and meat in general takes a bit longer to break down, so it'll make them feel fuller for a longer period of time. If you think about it, if you have a lot of meat, then you feel full for quite a long time. Rashni, you're wondering if leopards eat the hooves of their prey? No, they are not particularly interested in the hooves or the horns. So often those are the few things that we find that when there's a kill after the animals have finished it off. Lions are quite similar. They don't enjoy hooves either. So horns, hooves, anything or the tail, anything that's made out of keratin or too hairy, the skin, also they will not eat it and they will leave it on the side. I think maybe there was even more meat in there than what we initially thought. We will stay with him, see if he finishes the kill while we're spending some time in his joyful company. But in the meantime, let's go to Taylor and see if she's got any news about Shadow's whereabouts for us.
We haven't. We're still just being very patient, driving up and down, sitting quietly, waiting. I went and also checked the hyena den. No one's home. That's the third time I've checked the hyena den today. So I think they must have got quite a big fright. So I don't know where they have gone. They could have also just sat down in the shade somewhere. It is starting to warm up now. So I don't exactly know where they've gone, but I don't really want to go off-roading too much, because if they are a little bit nervous, I don't want to make them even more frightened by crashing my car through the bushes. It's almost impossible to try and answer something like that. Sometimes some animals are just better mothers than others. Or Shadow could just have unfortunate luck all the time. So, maybe it's not her losing her cubs all the time. Maybe hyenas are coming in and taking them, baboons are raiding her den site. It's not uncommon for young leopard cubs to be taken by other animals. Like I said, I've almost watched a leopard cub get snatched by a tawny eagle, I was almost devastated that I was about to see this. Luckily, Mom came out and do the rescue. So it's tough. She can't be there 24/7 for her cubs, unfortunately, especially if she needs to go out and hunt. So there's always that risk when Mom has left them in a den site somewhere. She knows she's leaving there and she could return and there won't be any cubs. So can you imagine how stressful it must be for that mother to go out just knowing that all the time? We're lucky, we as humans, you have a babysitter. If you want to go out for a meal, and you don't want to take your newborn child with you, you can leave them with your parents, or a sister or a brother, somebody that you trust, and you know that they're going to be looked after very, very well. It's obviously very different in the animal kingdom. Even with wild dogs, it can be quite tough. Yes, they normally leave somebody at the den to make sure that the pups are okay, but one wild dog on its own wouldn't be able to take on lions if they came through an area like that. So it's very tough to say as to what actually goes on with Shadow. We don't see them 24/7 to be able to monitor them all the time. I just think she's unfortunately had a little bit of bad luck in her life, but she's still got this little one. It's very exciting, and hopefully we're going to have a little look at not quite a teeny tiny leopard, but a much smaller leopard than we've seen in quite some time. But Tingana is still saving the day, gracing his presence, munching on his warthog, which is wonderful. I'm sure Addie's having a great time, so let's go back across to her.
He does seem to be having a great time, I must say. still busy eating. He hasn't stopped in all this while. But now that we were talking about shadow and motherhood, that got me thinking. I'm not too sure who Tingana's mother is. So if you guys know, please use the hashtag Safari Life and let us know. Maybe it'll be interesting to start piecing the leopard puzzle together in my mind. At the moment, there's lots of information, but I'm sure the more information we can get, the better. It's always interesting to find out where particular animals come from, if we have that information available to us. If not, then at least we know what cubs have come from Tingana, which is always good. And then we're able to do like a big family tree and figure out who's who and what's happening around here. And I find it fascinating because sometimes they just will meet up with very random creatures and they'll meet some other ones and, they'll mate, and then you'll have cubs that look the same but are very different in personality. I suppose maybe if animals had to look up at humans, that's what they would feel about us. Because we're also different to one another. Just busy munching away, aren't you? Jason, you're saying that you'd like to get a tape measure around that neck. Wow, yes. He is a very big male, and his dewlap is looking very big as well. The dewlap is almost like that extra flap of skin the territorial males, or not extra, but bigger flap of skin underneath their neck that male territorial leopards develop. And I was very impressed when I was seeing him yesterday, and I saw that it was quite big. I would say maybe he could be roughly 1 meter in diameter. Maybe I'm being, over eager here and attaching him more size than what he already has. But he is looking stunning. Very healthy, very big male leopard. And you still seem, I think maybe we wouldn't, even this afternoon, he might not move too far from here, although we all know Tingana loves moving around, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually decides to finish this kill while we're watching before it gets a bit too hot, and then maybe move off. Hopefully he'll be here this afternoon, just so that we can keep up with his movements around. I don't know what I did. Hillbilly Safari, and I think you are right. I think Tingana just kind of showed up in the area. Nobody's quite sure of where he came from. Maybe Kruger Park, maybe Manuleti, but I think that is what you're saying is right, because I remember Tristan mentioning something, and he's been my leopard teacher, and he's been the one showing me, trying to understand who's who and what's happening around, also with all the visual aid that is readily available on social media. But I think you are right. Maybe I was just thinking of a different leopard, and that's why then maybe we knew where he came from. Such mysterious creatures, and I think sometimes it's better not to know, because then you're like, well, you can just imagine, and it's almost like they reserve that bit of privacy to themselves, and you can only just wonder. You're looking at something else there. Every now and again he looks up and starts looking into a different area. Rashni, you're saying we need a leopard family tree. We do, but I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to find it. Well, like I said, at least we know who's come from him, which is sometimes just equally important. Oh, there we go. Just playing around here with my monitor. I wonder, what part are you onto now? Edward, you want to know why he's licking the food. Leopards and cats in general have got a very rough tongue, so when he tries to lick the food, it's not because he's trying to eat it like an ice cream or because there's anything dripping from it, but they do it repeatedly to try and soften the meat and get it to come off the bone or the skin a lot easier. They don't use their paws like we would use our hands to maybe peel off, imagine like a chicken wing or something along those lines. They can just use their mouth. So if it's very tough or still attached to a particular bone or the skin, they have to try and work it out and soften it out before they are able to pull pieces of it and eat them. So it's quite typical to see leopards doing exactly what he's doing, and cats in general. I think he's just gotten into the bone now. Jenny, you're wondering if big cats get feline leukemia like domestic cats. I'm not sure. I've never heard about it. I could ask, or I will ask one of the wildlife vets and find out what if they do. I think they could. They get a lot of the domestic diseases, or that, you know, our cats at home get. So I wonder, maybe they could due to, you know, a genetic component or lack of condition, but I'm not entirely sure, so I can't say yes or no. But I can definitely try and find out for you and then just let you know. I know they do get a lot of the diseases that normal house cats get in some of the conditions, so there is a possibility of them getting it. Happy to stick around here. He's made a kill not too far from where he waited yesterday the whole afternoon, and I wonder if he came from too far, because I know we had some tracks for a male leopard in the morning, so I wonder if he did, you know, a round of patrolling, and then in the evening, just as he was getting up and patrolling, and then decided to stay pretty much around here. No reason to go anywhere now that he's got pretty much anything he needs around here. Maybe the only thing that would move him out of here is another antelope coming by, another predator pushing him out of the area, perhaps the call of another territorial male in the distance. I think those are probably the only reasons why he would decide to leave this particular area. Or, well, and when the kill is finished, clearly he will have no more reason to stay around here. So I wonder if a way to a leopard's heart is actually through his belly. Larry, you're asking if I think that leopards smell like buttered popcorn. I don't think leopards smell like buttered popcorn. I think their pee smells like buttered popcorn. They have a very strange, very strong smell, but I think maybe it is their pee, what we think that smells like buttered popcorn. And I know it is quite funny and it sounds very unreal, but it's definitely the way that it smells. Janet pee also smells very similar to a leopard. Also, it's got that, you know, popcorn smell to it. But I don't know quite how to explain the smell of a leopard. It's quite pungent. And there's definitely a bit of like soil scent in it. And almost like, imagine if you had like a wet cat. That sort of smell. And then multiply it for about maybe 100. That's to me what a leopard smells like. Let's go across to Taylor, see if perhaps she can smell any leopards nearby. Hopefully she'll be able to sniff two of them out of their hiding.
Trying to sniff them out, Ellie, but I haven't been able to pick up the scent of a leopard just yet. We're still looking, we're still just bumbling about. I just bumped into Herbie now, and he agrees with me. He says we just maybe need to give them a little bit of space. Like I said, it could have been quite a traumatic experience for them. Not that it was anything intentional. It was purely just a bumping a leopard on foot and them running for their lives, of course. But they're here somewhere. There's no tracks of them crossing out on any of the roads. This grass is so long, just as it concealed them off of the road. I mean, we're only about 50 meters or so off of the road. The grass is so long it was hiding the entire shrub, and if they were just laying underneath that tree, it explains why we couldn't, of course, see them. We had the right idea this morning. So that's what's so exciting about winter and why it is my favorite time of the year, is because you can actually see animals, which is nice, and you don't have to worry about driving past, or you have leopard tracks that they disappear off on the road. At least you can still see 100 meters into the thicket. But we'll go past one more time. I'm just, oh, hang on. Go, Herbie. No way. Oh my gosh, Herbie just said I must come to Treehouse Dam, and myself and Senzo were literally just there. We sat there for how long? About 5 minutes, eh? I kid you not. We were sitting. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go a little bit quicker now, just because we've just missed these leopards. Herbie's just said he's got visual of them. We were there, we must have missed them. They must have been in the long grass and are obviously moving. Alright, let's go have a look. That is so funny. The animals are having a good laugh at me, and it's fine. I've got a really good sense of humor, so it's fine. Animals, laugh away. Keep teasing me. I'll catch you eventually. I will catch you. You know what, that's one thing about nature, is you actually can't be too serious. You have to take our job seriously, of course, but as frustrating as what it is, and I cannot tell you how, I'm sitting here going, are you kidding me? We sat at that dam for 5 minutes waiting, and then nothing. And we've just left Treehouse Dam, and I said to Herbie, okay, cool, I'm gonna go and give it one more look, and then I'm probably gonna move out the area, and we'll try again this afternoon. And he said, no, I agree with you. And right, let's go and see these silly kitties. That really is quite ridiculous. Now I need to find where Herbie is. Let me just concentrate very quickly. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky cats. Herbie's just asking me if I can see him. Negative, not yet. Oh, on the other side. Ah. Okay, I got your visual. I'm coming now. Sure, they ran far. Okay. So Herbie's. Ah, so confirm which Ingwe is it? Oh my goodness, it's not even Shadow. It's not even Shadow that Herbie's managed to find. So Shadow and her cub are still hiding out. It's Xongile that Herbie's got. Yay! I haven't seen Xongile in such a long time. Oh, our pretty princess. Woohoo! Oh my goodness, it's just littered with leopards. Oh, you have no idea the joy that I'm feeling within at the moment. Because at least I know this leopard's not going to go running away from me now either. There's Herbie. Let's just go into low range very quickly. Let's see where she is. I want to see how Herbie has managed to spot this cat. This is absolutely astounding, but I've stalled on because I'm so excited now. Oh my goodness. How he does it. Mike, just stand by. I'm just trying to get into the sighting and I'll update you guys. Right, let's try and get in here. And then I'll have a conversation with Mike. He can just hang on for 2 seconds while we try and figure out. Herbie's just guiding us in. It must be in the. She must be. What a sneaky little girl she is. Oh my goodness, Herbie. Oh no, I don't know what I'm going to have to buy you, but you definitely deserve a gift. Look up in the tops of that tree over there. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it, Senzo? So as you look, I'm just going to get hold of Mike again. Mike, I'm standing by. Thank you, Herbie.
Watching us all along.
No, not at all. I was just trying to get into the sighting. She's in a tree. It's Xongile. We're just south of Treehouse Dam on the southern road. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Whew. My luck is changing, everybody, with the help of my dear friend Herbie. Of course, I could not have done it without him. Oh, can I just show you how excited Herbie is as well? Please, can we have a look at Herbie's face? I know Xongile doesn't look like she's going to go anywhere, but look at that big pearly white smile, arms in the air, and that is why he's one of the most incredible people I have ever met in my entire life. Talk about perseverance, talk about patience. This man has got it all. Penny is a very lucky woman. She is very lucky. I'm sure that most women will be envious of Herbie. But how great is that? I actually just am speechless. Honestly, I'm speechless because it has been very tough to try and stay positive and trying to find these cats. Oh, Senzel's saying I mustn't cry. It's allergies, I promise it's allergies. But how glorious and gracious is that? And she's looking lovely. So remember, we had her tracks yesterday morning, moving around quite a bit, and then I thought that I'd seen her tracks actually crossing into Little Gowrie this morning, and I think they were, because they were over the top of Herbie's the car that he is in, over his tire tracks. So I think she's just been going back and forth, probably also looking for something to eat. You doing big yawns, girl? Have you had a long night? And I'm glad she's taking after her mom and laying in the marula trees. Now, Christelle, you said that she has got great eyes. She does indeed. She's beautiful, isn't she? She's a gorgeous girl. But I was listening to Ali, Ali and I were chatting about it last night, and I saw a couple of you were also talking about how she's getting that typical offspring look that Shadow has, that Thandi has, or from the pictures that I've seen. I haven't seen Thandi yet. But it almost looks like it's a grumpy look. But it's not grumpy. She's not doing it intentionally. She can't help the way that she looks. It's almost like I can't help the way that I sound or how thick my hair is. These are all just one of the things. And I suppose it's the traits that Karula passes on. And Tess, you were wondering if the tail can show moods like domestic cats. Most certainly. When they're hanging in a tree like this, I suppose it's just an ornament. It's not really doing too much, as if she's very relaxed. However, the tail, of course, also helps with balance. Oh, she's stretching out. Look at her. Just scratching. And that's very important to, of course, do that. It helps, strengthens all the tendons in the paws, as well as getting rid of all the old nail sheath. I wonder what she's going to do next. So sorry, yes, so they'll twitch it. My best is when you see a leopard once it has spotted some prey in the distance. That's the greatest test, because you see that tail just twitching slightly as if it's their brain working, sort of plotting out their next move. So most certainly, and it's the same thing with lions as well, with all the cats. You look at, of course, a combination of the position of their ears and their tails, and that can normally tell you their moods. Let's reposition slightly. I'm just thinking, oh, hang on, I'm just wondering, because she's facing the other way, but if she decides to climb down, I suppose we have got quite a nice view. But I think if we go forward a little bit, Senzo, let's try this. Let's try a different angle out. Come on, car. Come on, Rusty. Can't be braking in a second car. I will not be too popular. I will not be the most popular person in camp, that's for sure. Actually, this is going to be an even better spot, because now we really have a perfect view of her if she comes down this tree. Hello, my precious girl. It has been such a long time, young Xongile, since I've seen your beautiful face. It's beautiful, hey? This is such a perfect tree. Now, I think it's very impressive that she's climbed all the way up there, because that's a very, very steep base, or steep trunk, as Senzo has just said. I don't think it's necessarily the easiest tree. There's no little branches that she could have used to sort of stop, have a break. She would have had to have done that all in one go. And I hope that she does decide to show herself. Jamie, we're coming to you next, but I have to tell you we found one of your favorite little leopards, and I'm sure Jamie would absolutely love to see this, so make sure you tag her in lots of screenshots. But let's go back across to her in the Mara and see what other exciting things she's spotted.
I am so happy to hear that Taylor has found Xongile. I've been wondering about her while I've been here, and just wondering about how she's doing. We've got some arch enemies of the leopards out here, and, well, pretty much across Africa. We've actually got quite a few different animals around and about. We'll start off with our olive baboons, just because they are, or were, sitting so nicely out in the open for us. There's a couple of tiny, tiny babies around, so I'll keep my eyes peeled. At the moment, they're foraging in the grass, which makes them... Bless you! I know, it's very dusty out here, isn't it? Whew. Would you like a tissue? We've got some toilet paper in the car if you need. Obviously not too bothered. And maybe inviting him towards the car is a terrible idea. So olive baboons that are just that much fluffier than the chukmas that we see in the Sabi sand. And I haven't actually seen much of them. They live around the mountain where our camp is situated, but I haven't really spent much time with them. I just see them dashing past every now and again. And then, of course, off to the right, one of the more common antelope species, the dopey, that I feel has the best name of any antelope ever. Dopey. Basically the East African equivalent of a sesame. And looks kind of like it was put together by the spare parts of all the other animals once, kind of the leftovers when it was created. It's got the body of a hartebeest and the legs of a wildebeest and the face of a goat, if you ever get a close-up view of them. A dopey. And then, just to set the scene, back a little bit further in towards the river, and the waterbuck, the Dafasa waterbuck that looks so different to ours. No white rings around their bottoms, just plain white bottoms and a very dark grey colour. They're pretty. They're so pretty. Alright, it sounds as though we need to jump all the way back to Djuma because Xongile's up and moving.
She is indeed, Jamie, she is indeed, but how gorgeous that you have, of course, those baboons. I think what Xongile's done is she's spotted some impala that were just near Treehouse Dam. So when I came around racing and obviously quite excited because Herbie had called me straight in over here, I spotted this group of impala, and they were just in the thicket, but they looked like they were coming out towards the dam. So I think that's what she's seen. And remember yesterday I was climbing trees and standing on termite mounds in the sunrise safari. And that's exactly what a leopard's done. Or not done, do. What's wrong with me? I'm so excited now. So it's a good spot. I also think she feels relatively safe up in a tree like this. She's not a particularly big girl. She's doubled in size since I last saw her. But she's still quite small. I think she's still got a little bit of growing to do. Remember, she's very young still. And when you are so young and you are on your own, you don't have mom watching over you anymore, and you are able to climb trees as well as leopards are, I think sleeping up in a tree probably feels pretty good rather than sitting on the ground where you're quite exposed to hyenas, to lions, to potential other leopards passing by or any other predator that's bigger than what she is. So up in a tree is a good spot for her. And as I mentioned earlier, she's taken after her mom. She's got the same love for marula trees, and I think that's a really great characteristic that Karula has passed on. And we miss her. We miss Karula, but at least we're still seeing Xongile. I hope that Hosana is going to make an appearance soon. That would really just be the cherry on top of the cake, wouldn't it? Imagine, hopefully by this weekend, we get dear Hosana popping through. And I haven't heard anything about him for quite some time, so I don't know where he is moving around. He could be anywhere. He could be lurking about on Chitwa. He could just be living in Little Gowrie, and I believe the vegetation is very thick in there. So it could be even more difficult to find leopards. But we've got 4 leopards on the property that we know about. Herbie saw Shadow and her little cub. We saw the Dacre kill that they have just off Philemon's cut line. We've got Xongile now, and then we've also had Tingana with Ali, of course, since last night. That's a beautiful shot. And then, of course, this morning again. But who knows? This afternoon, all these leopards could have disappeared. You know what these sneaky spotted cats are like. They really are the most elusive creatures in the bush. But how great is that? From having no leopards to having all of this action in just a few hours. I'm sure you're all smiling from ear to ear like me. Now, Dylan, you've said that she looks thirsty. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I think it's quite difficult to tell if a leopard looks thirsty or not. She's just sort of waking up. I don't know if she's quite decided what she's going to do. So, again, because she's so my goodness, my words today. Because she's so young, she might not be moving around so much at night time. She could still be just moving around during the day, like we say, to avoid the larger predators that are more active during the cooler times, which would be a very clever tactic. She doesn't look like she's quite grown into her paws just yet. She's actually got lovely big paws, don't you, girl? And it's obviously a tough one. The water's right not far away, so don't worry, Dylan. If you feel and you're a little bit concerned that she may be dehydrating, there's a huge dam. Treehouse Dam is probably about 200 meters away, maybe not even that far. So she'll go over there whenever she's thirsty and have a sip of water. See, at this time of the year, it's not difficult for the animals to find water. It's all over. It is going to start drying out soon. And then she can maybe be a little bit concerned, but she'll know where the water is. Now she's yawning. She's looking like she's waking up. But as you know, sometimes leopards are in no hurry to go anywhere. They take their time, do 150 yawns, stretch, then lay down for a little bit, then get up again. And we'll just be patient. I'm not going anywhere. I'm totally going to sit with this girl for as long as we can. And then hopefully on the way home, we'll be able to pop past that last area where Shadow was seen, and who knows, maybe we get a triple threat. Oh, here we go. Looks like she's going to climb down now. Are you going to climb down, you lovely lady? There she goes. Now, Nikki, you were wondering if I thought, ooh, careful, darling dear. That was not the most graceful dismount I've ever seen of a leopard before, but okay. She got down either way. Sorry, Nikki. You were wondering if she's going to be a smaller Shadow. I don't think she's going to be a particularly big leopard. We'll have to just sort of wait. She might have a growth spurt, and I think her size is also going to depend on how much food she eats. So the more she keeps catching, the larger she's potentially going to grow. She's in those stages now where she should be growing as quickly as she can. So we'll just have to wait and see. Her paws are, they're decent size, but they're not big. You can still tell her tracks apart from the other female leopards. But there we go. Now earlier we were talking about emotion, and can you tell it from their tails? Look at that. It's twitching. I think she's just smelling down on the ground at the moment, but she's definitely thinking. There we go. Good girl. Go towards Treehouse Dam. I think that's a good spot. She's still got a bit of a way to go though, and I don't think she's going to race off anywhere in a hurry. But she's hungry. She's not thin. She's in fantastic condition. She's lean. And we don't normally see very overweight cats, or sometimes they will gorge themselves, of course, and it looks like they've eaten a beach ball. But that disappears quite quickly. That belly, in just a few hours, and maybe a little bit longer than that, will then go back down to normal size again. Well, this is wonderful. Xongile is looking for her breakfast. I think that's what she's plotting to do. Tingana is just finishing his breakfast. Let's go watch him lick his lips.
Yay, Xongile! I'm sure everyone's super excited to see her. And funny enough, she's not all too far from where we are. I don't think, however, there's going to be a chance of these two leopards meeting. They're still going, it seems, in opposite directions, but it seems like little Xongile is loving sleeping up in trees. Wonderful. Tingana seems he's just finished whatever it is that it was left from his breakfast, and he's going through another bout of grooming. So he's been eating lots of meaty pieces going all over his face. So moving around, moving his paws, and just making sure that he cleans himself. Like all the flies that were earlier on top of him, then this is why he's licking himself, just as a way of trying to avoid little pieces of dirt, meat, and just anything that might be a bit dirty. Oh, what is that? On his face. So often you'll see those start licking their legs first. They'll clean their legs that they've been using to hold down the carcass, and then once they groom those legs, then they're going to start then cleaning their face, pretty much like a normal domestic cat does, using almost a wrist to clean their nose, their face, the top of their head, just to make sure that good condition is kept all throughout. Are we onto the right paw? There we go. Licking the face, cleaning the face, getting rid of anything that might be around her, perhaps close to the eyes. Seems like Xongile is fishing her tail. Let's go to Taylor and see how her little princess is doing.
She's just smelling around at the moment. Now she's taking a couple of steps. I don't know where she's going to go. She might also decide to just lay down in the shade somewhere. Perhaps her spot up in the tree was not shady enough. What you doing, girl? I'd love to know exactly what she's thinking. She's got her ears pricked, of course. She's looking around, so maybe those impala have moved slightly closer. She's still got a bit of a way to go. Right, let's follow her. Let's go and anticipate her movements. Let's see if we can get in front of her. I don't think I'm going to drive right behind her. We'll sort of go... What has she done? No, she's just laying down now in the grass. Okay, let's go back this side then. Just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. That's what she's done. She just moved to the shade, but she's facing that way. So I don't want to just face her rear end. As beautiful as what it is, I'd prefer to have her beautiful eyes looking at us. So let's go the scenic way around and get in sort of in front of her then. No. Elephants have been very busy here, knocking over. I'll get to all those questions in a moment. I just need to concentrate and just focus on off-roading. Trying to figure out where there she is, around the corner. There's just a lot of fallen trees here. Like I said, the elephants have been busy. I don't want to break this car as well, otherwise we're going to get ourselves into a lot of trouble. Now there's also an entire network of warthog burrows here. Now I don't want to fall into that, so let me go this way around. Xongile is very relaxed with the cars as well. Hello, girl. Hello, beautiful princess. Look at you. You are so gorgeous. Look at that face. That is adorable. That is the prettiest. She's such a beautiful girl. Sorry, Alice, may I have that question again? She is so regal. She's sitting in the shade, of course, out of the sun. Look at her, she's stunning. Isn't she beautiful? No, so she obviously wasn't taking too much interest in whatever she saw in the distance. But there's that typical look that all Karula's offspring seem to have. I don't mind it so much. I think it's quite cute, actually, to look like you're sort of a little bit upset all the time. But it's very sweet. You know, like I said, she's not. She can't help her facial expressions, the way her eyes are positioned, the way her nose is in conjunction to the rest of her body. But it's nice. I think it's very special. And it's something, like I said, Karula's passed on. And this trait will hopefully be passed on for generation to generation. And that will be a way that will be able to identify all the offspring that have come from Karula. Now, William, you're wondering if leopards can accidentally fall out of trees. Well, as you saw just a moment ago, Xongile almost fell out, not accidentally, but because she couldn't find her footing. But I'm sure it happens. I think as an adult it's less likely, but definitely a youngster. I've watched Hosana and Xongile, but more Hosana, fall out of trees. And it just takes a bit of practice, and obviously they need to develop muscles and learn how to balance. So yes, it's most certainly possible. It's just the same as how birds can fall out of trees. They can get blown out. They can, also maybe land and a branch breaks. I've seen that with vultures before, where they land and they look like they're going to go toppling down. But luckily they flap their wings a couple of times and get enough lift. But Xongile, you are an elegant girl, and we've seen you balancing on all sorts of things before. So I don't think that she'll have a problem. But she's happy here. This is a nice spot. She might just rest up for the day. Those eyes look like they're getting heavier and heavier, and as I say that, yes, she puts her head down in her paws, so perhaps she is just going to have a siesta. A day filled with leopards is not a bad day in my books. Actually, a day filled with any animals is not a bad day. What a lovely girl. So peaceful as well, not a bird chirping. I am going to have to jump on the Game Drive radio in a moment. I promise I'm not ignoring you. This is probably the most I've ever spoken on a Game Drive radio in my entire life. I'm normally always getting into trouble for not being on the radio. Mike is going to come into the sighting, and I suspect I'm going to have to guide him a little bit, because I don't know if he'll get a view from where we are positioned now, with all the silver cluster leaves and bush willows. They're all around here. There's some big ones too. So we will need to just guide him in, but I'm listening out for his vehicle. We might actually see Xongile give us the first sign that there's a vehicle approaching. So let's see if that happens. If she turns her head sort of back towards where we are, and we know she's listening to something else. There we go. You see that? You see how her ears are pricking? She's listening. I can't hear anything just yet. I'll tell you when I can hear the car. There we go. I can hear a vehicle now. Right, let's try and call this in. Standing by, Tom. Well, we have called it in. Can we keep this to a 2-vehicle sighting, please? It's quite thick here. You can stand by, and then Mike is making his approach. I'll call you in when I pull out. We are just sort of southwest of Treehouse Dam on the southern road. Copy, thanks. I'm going to be spending a bit of time here. I've been searching for leopards all morning. There we go. Copy. Mike, if you come across the dam wall as if you're going south, turn right onto the southern road as if you were going back towards Shibamu, and then you should see where my vehicle tracks go off. Just sort of look a little bit southwest. When I get your audio though, I'll guide you in. I'm not far off of the road. Oh, hang on, stand by. Where?
In the tree.
Behind us. Oh, there's another leopard here. Oh my goodness. Hang on. Guys, we've got another leopard. Who is this in the tree? Is it Hosana? No ways. No ways. It is too. It's Hosana. No, this is Thamba. Can we have a look? This is interesting. Can we just look at his right eye very quickly? He's got a... Yes, this is Thamba. Guys, I need some help here. Please hashtag Safari Live and confirm if this is Thamba. It looks like those ears are too big to belong to... oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on. To belong to, of course, Hosana, but I could be mistaken, of course. Alice, will you just keep an eye out and see if anybody does send in, if that is Thamba or Hosana? Well spotted. I'm just listening to Mike. Okay, copy, Mike. I've just realized I've got another leopard up a tree here as well with Xongile. I think it might be Thamba. It doesn't look like Hosana, but we're just waiting for confirmation. It's quite thick here. That's why I think I'm going to keep it still to a 2-vehicle lock. There's just a lot of bush willows surrounding these 2 cats now. What's your position, Mike? Mike has also got a leopard. So Shadow is in the area too. Oh my goodness. Okay, copy. Thanks, Mike. That's very interesting. Tom, you're welcome to go and join Mike then. We've got then 3 leopards in the vicinity of a couple of 100 meters. We can just keep rotating if you guys are happy to do that. I'll keep you guys updated. The viewers will let me know now and confirm if this is Thamba that I have in the tree, but I've definitely got Xongile. Right, so this is very interesting, isn't it? Let me try and get you another view here. I'm going to turn the Game Ride radio now down so I can focus. So Mike has got another leopard. Mike has got another leopard, which we will also try and go to. I think I'm in a hole though, yes. Which is quite exciting. He says it looks like a young male leopard. So maybe it's Hosana. Let me go here. I was going to try and get a view of that other leopard, but let's just look at Xongile because she sat up again. This is unbelievable. Oh, hang on. There he is. He's looking back at us now. I don't know if Xongile knows that this leopard is here. The male that's sitting in the tree is looking down at Xongile. Let's see what happens. This is so interesting. This is now probably going to explain why I've been seeing so many young male leopard tracks around on the ground. Because remember, I had adult female leopard tracks as well as young male leopard tracks around quarantine, and I couldn't work out whose they are. Then we found Tingana that evening. I don't think they were Tingana's tracks. Xongile, do you know? Yes, she knows that there's a leopard up the tree. She's looking. And Thamba's not reacting at all. This is amazing. And it's probably because they're so young and that they don't mind each other, and they're probably finding comfort within one another. Have you ever? I've never been in a situation before where we've had potentially 3 different leopards in the same area. Let's see what her response is. Do you want me to, let me go back for you a little bit, Senzo. Sorry, I see the aerials in the way there. So I'm just going to swing the car just round like this. Hello, girl. Okay, that's fine. There we go. That's a little bit better. This is so interesting. How great is that? So yes, I think this is definitely Thamba up in the tree. That black smudge under his left eye is very noticeable. And then, of course, those big ears. But this is great. Thamba in a tree, Xongile down below, and we're uncertain as to what male leopard Mike has got, and we're going to have to go in and have a look. Mike says he thinks it might be Hosana, but he hasn't seen him in a while. I can't believe this. How is our luck turning like that? Going from not having anything, leopards just disappearing in front of my eyes. And now look at this. 3 leopards within just a couple of 100 meters of each other, plus Shadow and her daughter, not too far away from here. Stanley, you're wondering if there's a little bit of romance in the air, and wondering if Xongile and Thamba aren't perhaps going out. Maybe I've ruined a date. Maybe they were on a getaway. I don't think so, though. I think they're a little bit too young. As great as a story that would make, unfortunately, that's probably not the case. Oh, listen to her. She's sort of making a chuffing noise. Mike can see another leopard from where he is now. I'm confused now. I think maybe he's talking about my sighting. This is so funny. Mike, I think it might be you that I'm looking at. If it's in a silver cluster leaf, if you can make out a silver cluster leaf, and if the leopard is facing in an easterly direction, then yeah, it's me. I've got both Thamba up the tree and then Xongile is just at the base, but they're looking towards Treehouse Dam now, so maybe they're going to come your side. Which vehicle's just driven past on the southern road? Okay, I've got your audio. I think, Tom, it's you. If you want, you can come and join me. Yes, sorry. There's obviously, we're trying to organize these sightings now. Oh, so this leopard's not far away. Okay, copy. Well, from where you are, I'm about 80 meters. If you look to your left, far left to the south, you should be able to see my vehicle too. So this is very interesting. So Mike is not far away. I've just actually picked up where he is, and I'm trying to figure out where this other leopard is. So that's quite exciting. There's so many leopards here this morning. So sorry, as I was saying before, I got distracted just trying to figure out where everybody is positioned. And you know that we've driven up and down these roads so many times today, and there were no leopards around here. So they've just come out of their holes from, I don't know, all sorts of directions, and it's all quite confusing and a bit overwhelming, but exciting nonetheless. So obviously Thandi has gone off and she's looking for something to eat. I don't know what Thandi's reaction would be to Xongile. I don't know if it would necessarily be a polite reaction, but very, very interesting nonetheless. But Thamba seems to be quite content with his new friend, and she keeps it. Listen, you see that? She's sort of doing the chuffing noises at him. It's not an aggressive sound, this. It's very soft and subtle. I don't know if you can actually hear it because I'm just picking it up, just every now and then. But she's looking up at him as if to say hello. And now this other leopard is not far from where we are. Well, I can't wait. I'm going to have to give Jamie a call and tell her all these exciting all this exciting news. And it seems as though she's also found something up a tree.
How amazing is that? Thamba and Xongile in one place. That sounds fascinating to me. We are on our way home. I think we've got quite a busy day ahead of us, but I just wanted to stop by and give you a quick update on our hippo carcass that the hyenas managed to kill in a muddy pan just at the bottom of the mountain that we live on. And the vultures are here, but what's fascinating about this place is that there is so much food that the hyenas haven't even bothered to finish the hippo. That's still sitting there now, what, 4 days later? Must be? Looking a little bit bloated, I have to say. But I guess maybe the hyenas are coming in and feeding on it during the evenings when we're not around to see them. But really, I mean, this entire hippo carcass has basically gone to waste. The vultures are trying to get in, but it's difficult for them. Not that many hanging around. There's quite a few whitebacks in the trees. And then, just quickly to show you, the herd of buffalo that we started with this morning, making their way up towards this muddy wallow. There's the vultures in the shepherd's tree. Hello, guys. White-backed. Shame, it must be horrible for them. It's such a tempting meal, such a tempting opportunity, but there's absolutely nothing they can do in terms of flying down and feeding. They can't get any further inside the carcass. They need something to drag it out. And this is the herd of buffalo that we saw this morning. I'm still looking for the tiny calf that I saw get thrown into the air. I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's fine. Buffalo are not gentle with each other. I'm sure it's absolutely fine. By the hippo carcass, they're slowly, I think they might even wallow quite close to it. They're not going to be too bothered by the smell. It is starting to get a little bit rank, which is why I've parked us where I have, that we don't have to endure the smell. I didn't want to keep you away for too long. It's been such a wonderful morning on Djuma, filled with leopards. Let's go back to Thamba in a tree.
Look at that gorgeous face, those beautiful blue-green eyes, and of course those big ears to go with that face. This has been an unbelievable morning and a huge turn of events. Leopards everywhere. Now, I'm not going to go, I think it's going to be a bit tight if we try and get to the other leopard to try and figure out who it is, but I will go back a little bit later and go and investigate and try and get some pictures, and then I'll of course let you know who exactly that was up in the tree. But I just think it's amazing and that these two leopards are sitting here quite happily together. Xongile making very sweet little chuffing noises, but Thamba doesn't seem to be too perturbed by her presence, and vice versa. I mean, Xongile is not racing up the tree to join him. I think Thamba's probably going, wait till my mother gets here and sees all of you around here. It'll be really quite interesting to see what Thandi's reaction is going to be, because I've never seen anything like this before. Two leopards from different litters meeting up. Not uncommon. I'm not surprised by this at all. Like I said, they're young. They don't know any different. So it's not like adult leopards that have already established themselves in territories and will be very, very protective, of course. Be protective over those territories. These guys just follow, Thamba's still following Mom around or staying put wherever she tells him to stay, and then they go about their day. And Xongile and Hosana are roaming around, still very lost, not sure where to go, what to do. Just trying to find a meal, stay safe and not get chased by any other animals. But she's a cute little girl, though. That's all I can say about Xongile. She's really turning into a lovely little leopard. See that? She keeps looking up at him as if to say, come down and play, please. You want to come down? No? You want to sit in the tree? But both tree-loving cats. And I think that Thamba's obviously a better tree climber than Hosana. Ruth, you said a conquest of leopards. Did it? I think so. You know what, and this is why I love the bush again so much. You just never know what you're quite going to see. Look how she's walking straight here, right next to the car. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to duck. She's just gone behind the vehicle now. Oh. There she is. We'll make sure we see where she's going. She's not looking at Thamba to follow her. Xongile, go left, because you could potentially be reunited with your brother. Maybe he spots her. What an exciting morning it has been. I really don't know quite what to say, but leopard madness, spots everywhere, exciting things from the Mara. It has truly been an absolutely wonderful morning. Now we're going to try and figure out what's going on. I'm going to stay and follow Xongile for a bit longer to see where she ends up, so we have an idea where to go for the sunset safari. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing all the pictures. Remember to join us this afternoon for another leopard fiasco.